Welcome to the world of aviation. Your interest to join this course is highly appreciated. This course is designed to equip you with the basic knowledge necessary to join the aviation industry and thereby realizing your dream career. In this lesson, we will understand the very basic concepts of aviation. We will see what is aviation, what are its categories, what are its main components, and a brief history of how aviation industry has evolved over a period of time. Let us begin with the definition of aviation. What is aviation? Aviation in its simple term means air transportation, or transportation by air. There is a more scientific definition of aviation, which states that aviation is the practical aspect or art of aeronautics, being the design, development, production, operation and use of aircraft, especially heavier than air aircraft. The word aviation was coined by French writer and former naval officer Gabriel Lalondel in 1863, from the verb avia, means flying. The word avia was derived from the Latin word avis, which means bird. Later the word ation was added as suffix to coin the word aviation. Now let's go to the various categories of aviation. Here are mainly two broad categories in aviation. They are military aviation and civil aviation. Military aviation is the use of military aircraft for conducting aerial warfare, airlifting of cargo for armed forces stationed far away, which could be even at countries' borders. Military aircraft include bombers, fighters, transports, trainer aircraft, and reconnaissance aircraft. Army, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard etc. come under the term military aviation. Civil aviation means use of aircraft for non-military flying, which includes private aviation and commercial aviation. Private aviation is the part of civil aviation that does not include flying for hire or commercial purpose. Many private pilots fly for their own enjoyment, or to share the joys with friends and family. In private flight, the pilot is not paid, and all aircraft operating expenses are generally met by the pilot. Private aviation operates under lesser strict standards than commercial aviation. Aircraft owners are allowed to perform basic maintenance tasks on their own aircraft, but only licensed mechanics do this for commercial aircraft. The majority of active pilots hold a private pilot license. It is the purpose of the flight, not the aircraft or pilot, that determines whether the flight is private or not. Let's go further. There are two types of commercial aviation, which are general aviation and scheduled airlines. General aviation includes all non-scheduled civil flying, both private and commercial. General aviation may include business flights, air charter, private aviation, flight training, ballooning, parachuting, gliding, hang gliding, aerial photography, foot launch, powered hang gliders, air ambulance, crop dusting, charter flights, traffic reporting, police air patrols and forest fire fighting. A scheduled airline is a company that provides air transport services for traveling passengers and cargo. Airlines utilize aircraft to supply these services and may form partnerships or alliances with other airlines for code-share agreements. Generally, airline companies are recognized with an air operating certificate or license issued by a governmental aviation body. There are passenger airlines and cargo airlines. Scheduled passenger airlines can be further classified into international airlines, domestic airlines and regional commuters. Aviation includes a very wide areas of activities and involves mainly aircraft, airlines, airports and ground handling. All these are known as the key components of aviation. We will see the details of each of these components in the upcoming lessons. So far we have covered the basic concept of aviation. Now let's go to the timeline of aviation. It is essential for aviation students to have a brief knowledge about how aviation industry has evolved over a period of time to reach the current stage of development. For many centuries, man wanted to fly just like birds. Watching their feathered friends inspired them to make wings of feathers or light wood, which they attached to their arms to test their ability to fly, often with disastrous consequences. It took patience, perseverance, dedication and some brilliant minds to help mankind take to the skies. Let's take a quick look at the past achievements that have led to the advanced aviation technologies of today. Aviation has evolved through centuries of developments. Some of the key milestones are the invention of kites by the Chinese in 350 BC, scientific research by Leonardo da Vinci in the 1480s, invention of hot air balloon by Montgolfier brothers in the 1780s and the invention of gliders by George Cayley and its improvement by Otto Lilienthal in the 19th century. Finally, in 1903, the famous Wright brothers created the first successful airplane and the possibility of humans flying became a reality. On the 17th of December 1903, Orville and Wilbur Wright made 4 flights in their flyer, the longest of which lasted 59 seconds and covered 852 feet. The Wright brothers' flights combined both power and control, setting a new standard for aviation, thereby starting the modern era of aviation. The Wright brothers spent 2 more years perfecting their design. On the 5th of October 1905, Wilbur piloted the Flyer 3 for 39 minutes and about 24 miles of circles. The world's first scheduled passenger air service began in Florida, USA on January 14, 1914. It operated between St. Petersburg and Tampa. Despite only lasting for 4 months, the flights helped pave the way for modern-day transcontinental service. The 1920s and 1930s were a time of explosive growth in civil aviation. Giant airships became the first aircraft to transport passengers and cargo over great distances, including an around-the-world flight in August 1929. Great developments in this period include Charles Lindbergh's solo transatlantic flight in 1927, and Charles Kingsford Smith's Trans-Pacific flight the following year. End of the airship era by 1937 led to revolutionary aircraft designs such as the Douglas DC-3, a reliable all-metal passenger airplane, which helped make air travel more accessible and comfortable for the public. It became the first aircraft profitably carrying passengers exclusively, starting the modern era of passenger airline service. By the beginning of World War II, many towns and cities had built airports, and there were numerous qualified pilots available. The war brought many innovations to aviation, including the first jet aircraft and the first liquid-fueled rockets. Commercial aircrafts began to transport people and cargo as designs grew larger and more reliable. The Chicago Convention of 1944 led to the establishment of International Civil Aviation Organization with a goal to standardize the efficiency, safety and consistency of all civil flights. The standard set by ICAO has resulted in a safer and more economical aircraft operated by the major carriers. Europe-based Airbus, US-based Boeing, Brazil-based Embraer, Russia-based United Aircraft Corporation and Canada-based Bombardier are 5 of the top aircraft manufacturers today. By the 1950s, the development of jets engines started, beginning with the de Havilland Comet, though the first widely used passenger jet was the Boeing 707, because it was much more economical than other planes at the time. At the same time, turboprop propulsion began to appear for smaller commuter planes, making it possible to serve small volume routes in a much wider range of weather conditions. By the 1960s, the aerospace industry started booming. Prompted by the increase in passenger volume and international travel, the aircraft manufacturer Boeing released its first jumbo jet in 1969, the iconic Boeing 747. Competition became more intense among the major commercial aircraft manufacturers as the demand for aircraft grew. Airbus launched its A300 during this period, and proved to be a major competitor for Boeing. Since the 1960s, composite airframes and quieter, more efficient engines have become available, but the most important lasting innovations have taken place in instrumentation and control. Concorde, the supersonic aircraft, started providing passenger service, which lasted for more than 2 decades. The arrival of solid-state electronics, the global positioning system, satellite communications, and increasingly small and powerful computers and LED displays have dramatically changed the cockpits and increasingly of smaller aircraft as well. Pilots can navigate much more accurately, and view terrain, obstructions, and other nearby aircraft on a map or through synthetic vision, even at night or in low visibility. With the emphasis during the modern era on adopting digital or computerized techniques, the aviation industry has really taken off. During the 1970s, computer-aided design and manufacturing software enabled the creation of better aircraft designs. Computer simulations have also led to the discovery of better materials for creating lighter and stronger airplanes. Digital systems have found their way inside the modern aircraft, rendering most mechanical and analog instruments obsolete. From 2000 onward, aircraft manufacturers have enjoyed steady and rising revenues driven by increased air passenger traffic. Another key factor in the industry's growth during this period is the increase in traffic originating from emerging economies such as Latin America, China and India. As these economies continue to develop, the demand for air travel is expected to rise even further. That's all for now. Thank you for your presence. In the next session, we will discuss another aviation topic. Till then, goodbye.